Okay, I'm seeing a lot of questions. It is normal for you not to be able to see your camera. You will not be able to show your video, and you will not be able to actually speak so we hear you. You're going to speak to the screen, and Ami will explain a bit how the structure of the class is going to go. You will only be able to see Ami. If you have any questions, you can submit it in the Q&A on the bottom of your screen, and Ami will go over it at the end of the session. We do recommend holding off on your questions since you probably will be answering it during the class. Also, as a reminder, we will be sending out the recording of this. No need to email me. Everyone will get the recording. You'll also get some homework that Ami put together. If you're signed up for this class, you're on our mailing list, so do not worry. And with that, I'll hand it off to Ami to get started.
All right, toda rabba, Ali. Thank you very much. Okay, so Ali mentioned something about there's a beginner's level and an intermediate level. The set of the vocabulary sets are very different between this one and the next one. So if you're more intermediate, then you'll benefit not only from a higher level session next hour, but also a different set of vocabulary. Okay. So this webinar has two parts. In the first part, you'll participate in a staged conversation between two Hebrew speakers, where your job is to respond to my cues out loud. In the first part, there will be no visuals, so you have to trust your sense of hearing. In the second part, we will have a look at the text of the conversation. And when I say out loud, I mean, I want you to be speaking. I can't hear you, I can't see your lips moving, but I want to trust that you're participating, because as you participate, as you speak out loud, that will help your learning, that will help you retain the vocabulary, retain the material. Okay, התחלנו. Let's get started. How might you say hello in Hebrew? Shalom. If you were at last week's webinar, you might remember how to say good morning. Do you remember? Boker tov. And after I say something in Hebrew, feel free to repeat after me. It'll help you retain. Adam, or in English, Adam, having recently finished his army service, would like to open a bank account. He enters the bank, waits his turn, and approaches the banker saying, hello. How does he say it? Shalom. He begins, I, listen and repeat. Ani. Ani. He says, I want, listen and repeat. Ani rotze. Rotze. Tze. Ro. Rotze. Ani rotze. How does Adam begin with, I want? Ani rotze. He says to the banker, hello, I want, say it for him. Shalom, ani rotze. To open an account. Just listen. Liftoach cheshbon. Here's the word for account. Listen and repeat. Cheshbon. Bon. Chesh. Cheshbon. It's that ch sound. How would you say account in Hebrew? Cheshbon. Adam says, I want, keep speaking for him. Ani rotze, an account, or simply account. Cheshbon. Here's to open. Listen and repeat. Liftoach. Toach. Toach. Lif. Liftoach. How do you say to open in Hebrew? לפתוח. And here's to open an account. The word an is implied because we don't have it in Hebrew. Listen and repeat. לפתוח חשבון. Adam says, I want to open an account. Try it for him. אני רוצה לפתוח חשבון. לפתוח חשבון. The banker, a young woman, asks him, do you have, listen and repeat, יש לך, 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 יש לך? How does she ask him, do you have? יש לך? When Adam approaches the banker, how does he say to her, hello, I want? שלום, אני רוצה to open an account. לפתוח חשבון. She asks him, do you have, יש לך, an ID card? Just listen. תעודת זהות. First, the word for identity. Listen and repeat. זהות. הות. זהות. זהות. What's the Hebrew word for identity? Zehut. And here is card or certificate. Listen and repeat. Teudat. Dat. Udat. Teudat. Here's ID card, literally certificate of identity. Listen and repeat. Teudat zehut. Teudat zehut. In the US, this isn't such an important term, but in Israel, it's primarily important. The banker asks Adam, do you have יש לך an ID card, or simply ID card? תעודת זהות? The banker asks Adam, do you, oh, we did that. Adam says, I want to open an account. אני רוצה לפתוח חשבון. Notice how those two words at the end run together. Say again, to open an account. לפתוח חשבון. The banker asks him, do you have an ID card? יש לך תעודת זהות? Adam replies, I think, listen and repeat, אני חושב, חושב, שב, חושב. He says, I think, אני חושב, that, listen and repeat, שב, ש. The banker asks, do you have an ID card? יש לך תעודת זהות? Adam replies, I think. אני חושב. I think that. אני חושב ש. He says, I think so. Listen and repeat. אני חושב שכן. שכן. כן. What he's saying literally is, I think that yes. Which part of אני חושב שכן means yes? כן. Adam says, I think so. Or I think that yes. אני חושב שכן. שכן. He checks his pocket, but realizes that he's forgotten the card at home. He says, Oi, שכחתי אותה. Here's how to say, I forgot. Listen and repeat. שכחתי. Ti. שכח. There's two chs in a row. שכח. שכחתי. שכחתי. How does Adam say, I forgot? שכחתי. He says, I forgot it. Listen and repeat. שכחתי אותה. אותה. How does the banker ask him whether he has an ID on him? יש לך תעודת זהות? At first he says, I think so, or I think that yes. אני חושב שכן. But he checks and finds that it's not there. And he says to her, Oi, I forgot it. Oi, שכחתי אותה. אותה. I forgot it at home. Listen and repeat. שכחתי אותה בבית. בבית. בית. בבית. Babait means literally at the house. Here's the word for house. Listen and repeat. Bait. How does Adam say at home or at the house? Babait. The movie Home Alone in Hebrew is Shachechu oti babait. They forgot me at home. He says, Adam says, I forgot it at home. שכחתי אותה בבית. Let's review. When Adam approaches the banker, he says, hello, I want. How does he say it? שלום, אני רוצה to open an account. לפתוח חשבון. לפתוח חשבון. She asks him, do you have an ID? יש לך תעודת זהות? At first, he replies, I think. אני חושב. I think so. אני חושב שכן. שכן. But when he checks, he says, Oi, I forgot it. Oi, שכחתי אותה. I forgot it at home. שכחתי אותה בבית. Adam is a bit nervous because such a mistake could mean that he has to head back home all the way across town for his ID. But to his relief, the banker says, no big deal. Listen and repeat. לא נורא. 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 לא. לא נורא. לא נורא. How does she say, no big deal? לא נורא. When Adam checks his pockets, he says, I think so. אני חושב שכן. But when he discovers that his ID is not there, he says, Oi, I forgot it at home. Oi, שכחתי אותה בבית. The banker, though, says, no big deal. לא נורא. She asks him, do you have? יש לך a driver's license? Just listen. רישיון נהיגה. First, the word for license. Listen and repeat. רישיון. יון. שיון. רישיון. What's the Hebrew word for license? רישיון. And here is driver's license. Listen and repeat. רישיון נהיגה. נהיגה. גה. היגה. נהיגה. How do you say driver's license in Hebrew, or literally license of driving? רישיון נהיגה. רישיון נהיגה. רישיון. The banker asks Adam, do you have a driver's license? יש לך רישיון נהיגה? Cautiously, Adam replies, I think so. אני חושב שכן. Luckily for him, he opens his wallet and says, yes, I do. Listen and repeat. כן, יש לי. יש לי. לי. How does he say I do, or literally I have? יש לי. He says, I have a license. יש לי רישיון. A driver's license. רישיון נהיגה. He hands her the license and she prints a form for him to sign. When he's done, she says to him, that's it. Listen and repeat. זהו. זהו. Stunned by how quick this process was, Adam says, that's it? Try it. זהו. The banker replies, yeah, that's it. כן, זהו. Adam thanks her. Listen and repeat. תודה. תודה. How does he say to her, that's it? זהו. זהו. She replies, yes, that's it. כן, זהו. He thanks her. How does he say it? תודה. Let's review the conversation from the beginning. Adam says to the banker, hello, I want. שלום, אני רוצה. To open an account. לפתוח חשבון. She asks him, do you have? יש לך an ID card? תעודת זהות? Reaching into his pocket, Adam replies, I think so, or literally, I think that yes. אני חושב שכן. When he realizes that it isn't there, he says, Oi, I forgot it. Oi, שכחתי אותה. But the banker smiles and says, no big deal. לא נורא. Adam says, I forgot it at home. שכחתי אותה בבית. She says, no big deal. לא נורא. Do you have a license? יש לך רישיון? A driver's license? רישיון נהיגה? Adam replies, yes, I do, or yes, I have. כן, יש לי. יש לי. I have a license. יש לי רישיון. She hands him the form to sign and he says, that's it? זהו? She replies, that's it. זהו. Smiling as he gets up to leave, Adam says, thanks. תודה. She smiles back at him and says, על לא דבר, for nothing. Okay, now we're going to go into the visual. For those of you who are visual learners, your time has come. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, בבנק, at the bank. How does Adam say hello? And now you can take notes if you want. Shalom. Note the stress, the capital letters are where the word is stressed. It's shalom. I want. אני רוצה. To open. לפתוח. And if I'm going a little fast for you, the review materials will be there for you to help you. An account. חשבון. Do you have, she asks him. יש לך? An ID card? תעודת זהות? He answers, yes. How does he say it? כן. I think. אני חושב. I think so, or I think that yes. אני חושב שכן. Oi, I forgot, he says. אוי, שכחתי. I forgot it. שכחתי אותה. Now the word אותה means it in this context. All right, so it's not the only word for it. At home. Babayit. What's the word for house? Bait. Notice the stress on the first syllable. No big deal, she says. Lo nora. Do you have a license? יש לך רישיון? A driver's license or a driving license? רישיון נהיגה? He says, yes, I do, or yes, I have. כן, יש לי. Notice how the three words ani, shachachti, and yesh li have something in common. What is that? It's the E ending at the end of the word. It's the yud, the E sound, the E vowel. Ani, shachachti, yesh li. All of these are I or me. Ani, I. Shachachti, I forgot. Yesh li, I have, or there is to me, literally. She says, that's it. Zehu. When you hear Israelis say it, it'll sound like zehu, as if the h sound, well, as if the letter hey isn't there, because Israelis tend to drop off the h sound when they speak. So zehu. Thanks, he says. Toda. And that's the end of this presentation, the visual presentation anyway. Okay, so now I'm opening the floor to questions in the Q&A. Yeah, okay, so Judith, I'm usually asked for mispar zehut. Yes, mispar zehut is an ID number. So in this case, it's at the bank, so they want to see a visual ID. But yes, people are often asked for their ID number. Okay. Zeu or zehu, right? I think I answered that question. How are the endings different based on gender? It's a little too detailed for this presentation, but I'll take one example of if Adam said ani rotze, then Chava, Eve, right, might say ani rotza. There are differences based on gender. We're not going to get into it right now. Beyond this. How does a female say I forgot? Shachachti is the same for both genders. I in the past is the same for both genders. Doesn't matter who's speaking, it's shachachti, I forgot. In the present, there's a difference. But in the past and the future, it's the same for I. Visuals to print out, you will be getting an email with a link to review materials. How did you say for nothing? Oh, okay. So at the end of the presentation, at the end of the lesson, the speaking and listening lesson, the banker said for nothing, like the Spanish de nada. In Hebrew, it's a lo davar. And I will answer over here, a lo davar. Okay. Could you use shum davar for no problem? Shum davar means nothing. I wouldn't say that for no problem. No, for no problem, you could say al lo davar. You could say en be'adma. You could say en be'aya, which means literally no problem. The female alternative in writing, which is rotse and rotsa, are spelled the same way, without vowels. Rotse, rotsa. Ani rotse means I want. ID is the same for health insurance card. No, that's kartis. Kartis is a card. So kartis Maccabi for the Maccabi health insurance service. But Teudat Zehut is the national ID, which is useful in. I'm trying to translate ensfo into English in an infinite amount of situations. It's a very, very important term, Teudat Zehut. Sometimes I use ani, sometimes not. Correct. In the past tense and future tense, it's not necessary to use ani. So to say I forgot, I say shachachti. The e at the end of shachachti implies I. In the present tense, we always use ani. And as far as yeshli goes, I have, Hebrew doesn't have a verb for having. It's not a real verb like in English. Yeshli means literally there is to me. So li means to me. The writing in cursive, we have a page on our website. If you search ulpan.com for learn to write in Hebrew, then you'll find our tutorial for cursive, but I don't have it. We don't have it in the review materials for this lesson. Okay, so what's the difference between shum davar and klum? Both mean nothing. They're synonyms. Is there any possibility of this class being offered more than once a week? This webinar is once a week, but we have Ulpan 99 has regular classes. Oh, okay. En davar means it's nothing. Yeah, that's kind of like lo nora. En davar, no big deal. It's not used so much today as it used to be. Lo nora is much more common. Okay. Zeu, another way to say it. Zeu means that's it, masculine, feminine. There's no gender there. Zeu. That's it. It's just an expression. Let's see. In Israel, no nikud. Okay, good question. You may have noticed that in the visual presentation, I sometimes include the vowels, the nikud, and sometimes I don't. Last week I didn't use it at all because really I want to train learners to read without nikud because that's what that's how the signs read in Israel. That's how the newspapers read. It's universal. Without nikud, people know how to read the vowels by context. For example, the English word read can be pronounced, R-E-A-D can be pronounced either read or read, depending on the sentence it's in. I read the book yesterday versus I read every day. Same spelling, different pronunciation depending on the context. The same with Hebrew. It's very contextual. So in this presentation, I did include some vowels to make it easier, but sometimes I took them away. Okay. Oh, zehu maspik. Zehu means that's it. Maspik means enough. So they're close in meaning. They can be used interchangeably sometimes, but not always. Will there be learning about banking, telephone, touch tone options? Yep, that's in a couple weeks, I think 2 weeks. Hopefully you won't want to kill yourself after that lesson. We'll help you understand that. Okay, instead of zeu, could you say zehakol? Zehakol. Yeah. Yeah, you could say zehakol, that's everything. Okay, difference between efo and le'an for where, that's really last week's lesson. Efo means where is something located, le'an means to where, it's directional. And okay, and finally, one more question at the end. Please say and write how to say, let's get started, what I said in the beginning. That was a slang expression, which means literally, we started. Hitchalnu. Okay. Tov, zeu. That's it, zeu. And toda rabba lachem. Thank you very much, you guys. And I'll pass this back to Ali.
Thank you guys so much. As Ami mentioned, we will be sending out this recording along with some homework. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be sending it out. So check your inbox. It'll be under Ali, not Nefesh B'Nefesh. So maybe you guys just want to check your spam in case you didn't get it. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Well.